Every Halloween, there's a new Tier 7 premium that comes into the game. We've had the Tankenstein, then we moved on to the Dracula and the Helsing, then over to the Gravedigger, the Lycan, and the Annihilator. And now we have this, the Titan TN, a Tier 7 German heavy tank. I'm not sure if it is German, it's probably an unidentified nation vehicle like the Annihilator, but you never know. I mean, Wargaming made the Annihilator a German vehicle, so we'll have to find out when it is eventually released. But I can definitely tell you that 90% of this vehicle is German. Just looking at the turret alone, you can very easily see that it is a Tiger 1 turret. I'm not sure if it's going to have additional armor, if the cupola is going to be stronger, but it is definitely based off of a Tiger 1 turret. The gun looks like a 122, very similar to the Lycans, as you can see. However, it also looks very similar to an 8.8, a very similar if you take a look at Tigers in your garage or on the tech tree. It looks almost identical to the Tiger gun. So, yeah, I don't know. My guess is that it carries an 8.8 gun, dealing 225 damage a shot. Now, me and Pantouf both thought that this tank carried an auto-loading gun because of these two tubes that stuck out on the back. However, I don't actually think that is the case after having this tank's files downloaded. Now, I can say that the moving armor on the side that we saw here and on the front, I have not been able to actually replicate in Training Room yet. It's not activated until the update's actually been out. But what I can show you is the animation from when you shoot the gun, and the two tubes on the back do punch out. Now, I thought that only one of the tubes is going to punch out when you fired, but no, both of them do. So that has changed my opinion from this being a dual shot gun, kind of like a Helsing with maybe a short interclip, to now a single shot vehicle, probably an 8.8 centimeter with a fairly decent reload. I'm not sure how the mobility is going to be. Obviously, this is just a Tier 7. You can read it at the top too. I just modeled the skin of the vehicle over the Tiger 1. So this is just the Tiger 1 I'm driving. It's not going to be this fast. I'm not sure anything about the vehicle itself is going to be, but most guesses is it's going to be a Tiger 1 gun, Tiger 1 turret, and then a really weird hull. Now, looking at the hull armor, it's definitely German. I mean, you can very easily see that it looks like an E75 TS, kind of mixed with a Tiger 2. The frontal armor looks very strong, and with gun depression, I bet you're going to get a lot of bounces, although I don't know how the armor is actually going to be. And I don't really want to say how I think it's going to be because I have no clue. I'm guessing that it is going to have some pretty strong armor. The upper plate, maybe 220, 30 millimeters thick, but I have no clue how thick the lower plate's going to be. It has that moving up plate on the bottom, that ram that pushes up, so I have no clue how the armor's going to be. So I can't make any guesses, but what I can say is it's probably going to be a pretty heavily armored tank. That's about as far as I'd be willing to go, as I don't know anything about the vehicle itself. But it looks fantastic. I actually think it looks amazing. The animations are great. They're going to play while you're in-game. And obviously, to get your hands on this vehicle, you're going to have to complete the Halloween tree event. Now, last year, I bet there are a lot of people that are quite frustrated with themselves that they did not spend the $10 required to complete the Annihilator event. I don't really know. I think it was 10, but it might have even been 5. But all I know is that it was an extremely cheap tank to get your hands on, and it was definitely worth the money. While the Annihilator may be completely ugly and horrendous looking in my personal opinion, the tank itself is one of the most broken vehicles tier for tier in the game. So, is this vehicle going to be broken? I don't know. The Annihilator was stupid because of its 3-shot, 640 whatever damage gun. This tank is not going to carry a gun like that, to at least what I'm speculating. So, I don't think it's going to be broken unless they make the armor or the mobility something out of this world, but only time can tell. To complete this event, you're either going to need 17,500 gold or to spend $10 and grind it just like a normal battle pass. That's what I suggest for you guys to do. It seems pretty easy as well. While you do that, you also get the Crusader. But I'm going to tell you before I even break into the other tank of today's video that this will be worth it. Even if the tank itself isn't anything amazing, the rewards you get from the October battle pass mission tree thing to get your hands on this vehicle, we'll just call it the Halloween event, are still going to outweigh any of the downsides. It's $10. You're going to get crates. You're going to get this tank, which you're probably going to be able to sell because it's a collector. And actually, I don't know if it's a collector because the Annihilator is a premium. But if it is a collector, you'll be able to sell it for 2,500 gold. And if you check how much 2,500 gold costs, it's about $10 to be exactly on the dot. Where is it? That's $5 and 10. 2,500 gold. Actually, it's 3,250, but yeah, it's basically a $10 tank, and then you're getting a bunch of other rewards. So I'd highly suggest to get your hands on the Halloween event. Obviously, I'll make a video on the tank when it comes out, so stay tuned for that. But now we're going to break into this, the Concept 1B. A very interesting looking vehicle, and yes, I think interesting is the perfect title for it. Weird, odd, peculiar are other words that I would fit into the category of the AE, or not the AE, this is the Concept 1B. Now, if you're aware of the AE Phase 1, that, yes, does exist, even though I've only seen one of them in an actual battle, this is the AE Phase 1. And you'll notice they actually look very similar, both very elongated turrets, and their hull armor, as well, you can see it's got the lower plate here, the angled upper plate, are very similar looking. But this thing's turret is like you skimmed all of the armor off the AE Phase 1, and you just left it at the mantlet. I think it actually looks very similar to the M5 Yo. If I can actually find that, it's kind of like you get an M5 Yo and then you just flatten the turret. That's kind of what it looks like to me. Let me know what you guys think this tank looks like. But for anybody that has been paying attention to World of Tanks PC, this is a vehicle that does already exist in the PC universe. So we already know that it's going to carry a 120mm, and it's going to be basically the same 120mm as the AE Phase 1/M103. So it should carry about 250-60 millimeters of standard penetration. It should have 340 millimeters base heat pen and 374 on the premium, just like the M103. Mobility, I would expect it to go probably about this speed. I think this would be normal, around 30-35 kilometers per hour. It most likely will not get speed boost and reactive armor, though. I would not expect that. Just kind of think of this as a tier 9 heavy tank that is just a really weird one. Now, the armor profile is what gets me nervous about this vehicle. If we look at it hull down, this is what you see. Obviously, I can't really show the full gun depression angle here, but it has about 10 degrees of gun depression, which is very nice. And when it's in a hull down position, all you're going to see is that turret. Now, imagine trying to aim at that turret and that angled hull. I mean, I don't know how you're going to be able to pin it. There's no cupola. I mean, there is. You can see the cupola all the way in the back, right? There it is. There's the cupola. But, yeah, to hit that, I mean, good luck hitting that in a hull-down position like this. I think that the AE Phase 1 is a very strong hull-down tank, but this one actually has, like, no weak spots. I'm not sure if the turret cheeks, or you can see the actual turrets mounted to turns, if that's going to be a weak spot, but we're going to have to find out. Again, this is just modeled on an M103. That's why the turret, you can see, actually kind of messes up its axis when it turns, but overall, I don't know what to say about this tank. It's really weird looking. The armor is probably going to be very strong frontally, and even on side armor, you can see it's actually very angled, kind of similar to the Titan TN we just looked at. It's got some super steep side angles, so you might even be able to over-angle it and get some bounces, but because it is an American heavy, it's most likely not going to have any side armor, so we're going to have to see. The side of the turret is obviously going to be a massive weak spot. I mean, look at that huge semi-truck of a turret, although I'm not sure how thick it's actually going to be. Probably not super thick would be my guess. If we actually break into the armor profile of the Concept 1B from World of Tanks PC, this is what it looks like on flat ground. As I did say, you do have that cupola sticking right up there. The side of the turret is pretty weak, but not actually able to be penned with HE. You will notice that this bar here is what I think the big weak spot is going to be. If you load premium ammo, especially if we actually get like good premium pen, let's get at a tier 10 and just keep it good. We'll get at an IS4 because there is no Cali on PC, but you can definitely see that that will be a weak spot. It's only about 350 thick, which means that most tier 10s are going to be able to cut through that on Blitz, especially because it probably won't be as thick. But when you look at that turret, especially hull down, look at that turret armor. I mean, that's 400, upwards of 500 millimeters thick. And sure, you can barely penetrate the edges, but this is with heat. And heat shells obviously don't cut through. What is that? Spaced armor. So, yeah, the armor on this tank seems absolutely ludicrous. The upper plate hull down is 340 thick, although not actually as thick as I thought it was going to be, but only about 240 base, and that means with AP shells, because of shell normalization, you're actually very easily going to be cutting straight through the upper plate, only about 216 thick. Lower plate's actually quite strong, though. As I did say, those angled sides are probably going to get some pretty troll bounces. I mean, even at an angle like this, you will auto-ricochet bounces onto the side of the tank. It's actually quite impressively troll. The rear, though, as it is an American vehicle, is quite weak at only 80 millimeters millimeters thick, you'll very easily be cutting through that, although most HE shells will not unless you have a 155. Same for the turret rear. But man, is this a weird looking vehicle, isn't it? Let me know what you guys think about this tank in the comments down below. If you're excited for it to come into the game, or you're not excited. I am a bit of a mixed opinion. I think it looks really cool. I mean, side scraping capabilities look great, apart from the side armor, which is not all too amazing, but the vehicle itself looks really cool. The side of the turret is going to be a big weak spot. The vehicle itself, though, haul down, oh, this is going to be one fun vehicle. Hopefully, all of you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. But other than that, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.